Hey there, Jim here, and welcome to Jim Out Loud. Today I wanted to share another update on my hearing journey. This is part 3 of my series on living with a bone anchor hearing system, or might also hear bone anchor hearing aid, or BAHS. That's this device as well as the implant that I had done in the past couple months. If you're just joining me, I'll put links to the first 2 videos that I made in the description below. In those videos, I share my hearing loss journey, why I decided to go the BAHS route, the surgery itself, my recovery, and my first week with the sound processor. As always, these are simply my personal observations and experiences, not medical advice. I urge you, if you experience or are experiencing sudden hearing loss, seek medical attention immediately. In my case, I waited, and based on what I've since heard or discussed with my doctors and from others who've gone through a similar experience, that delay might have cost me the opportunity for at least partial hearing restoration on my right ear. So now it's been about 8 weeks since my sound processor was activated. That's the external device. And overall, I think I've reached an interesting point in the journey. The healing itself has gone extremely well. My hair has grown back, the incision's barely noticeable, unless I point it out, and most people probably wouldn't even know I've had surgery. I've had a couple of haircuts already. My barber's still a little concerned about the cutting the hair back in that area, but she's getting used to it as well. But the first thing you might notice if you watched my earlier videos, the safety cord is gone. At first, I kept this little tether attached. It would attach to the device, and then I would clip it on my shirt. I kept it attached because I was afraid that I'd knock the processor off and lose it or maybe break it. But after a few weeks, I realized that the safety cord was actually becoming the biggest reminder that I was wearing the processor. It would, hit my neck, or occasionally I would pull it taut and be able to really, feel that it was there. Now that it's gone, I honestly forget that I'm wearing the processor. In fact, a couple times I've forgotten to put it on when I leave the house. I do work from home, and since I live alone, I don't always put it on during the day. That's probably a habit that I need to change, not only to get the full benefit of the system, but also so it becomes a normal part of my routine before I head out the door. The biggest lesson over the past month, though, has been about expectations. When I made my last video, I talked about being a little disappointed with the volume, especially when listening to Bluetooth audio like audiobooks or YouTube videos. I thought it should be louder. I shared those concerns with my audiologist, and she increased the volume a little during my appointment. And she also showed me how to adjust the 5 frequency adjustments inside the app. So I'll continue experimenting with those. But she also reminded me of something pretty important. The primary purpose of the surgery and the device is not to replace earbuds. And that got me thinking about something. This is a Shokz bone conduction headset. I bought this at Costco a year ago, maybe, and it cost me around $100. It operates on a similar principle to the bone anchor hearing aid. The audio is fed in Bluetooth from your phone, and it has 2 transducers, and it basically sits, see if I can do this without knocking off my other device. It sits up against your skin and your head and skull. Obviously, it's on top of the skin, not embedded underneath. But I kept comparing my BAHS to these. I remember thinking, why does this inexpensive headset seem louder than my implanted hearing system? Then I realized I wasn't making a fair comparison. This Shokz headset was playing in stereo. I was getting input to both sides. So most of what I thought I was hearing through bone conduction was actually being heard over here by my good ear. When I changed the audio balance so that all the audio came over to the right or to my deaf side, everything changed. Suddenly the comparison was much more realistic. In fact, I actually think the BAHS it has a slight edge. And that was a really good lesson for me. Sometimes we compare two things without realizing we're not comparing them under the same conditions. So is it perfect? No. I still struggle in noisy environments like restaurants. Bluetooth audio is still quieter than I would like it to be. And I still have a lot to learn about the different settings and adjustments to get the most out of the system. Recently, for example, I found that regardless of what settings I had on my phone in the app or in the Apple settings, that audio from the phone was just always going through the BAHS. And despite my setting adjustments in the app that said don't send audio there, it was still coming through. So that was a change. It was a change in behavior, and I think it probably was a result of a Apple iOS update or a setting or a feature I changed. So I'll figure it out. But despite little challenges, I do know that the system is working. I think I shared before that family members have commented that I don't ask people to repeat themselves as often. I notice conversations feel more natural. And maybe the biggest thing, I don't spend much time thinking about wearing a hearing processor anymore. It's just become a part of everyday life when I remember to wear it. One thing that did surprise me during my follow-up appointment was that my audiologist scheduled my next visit for a year from now. And I realized I don't have any routine follow-ups scheduled with my ENT, the one who did the surgery, and my regular ENT. That felt a little strange because for many years, ever since I had the hearing loss, which was very sudden, I've had annual appointments just to track the good ear and also check and see what was going on with the side that had the hearing loss. So I do hope we continue to monitor the hearing without the device, and that's something I'll be discussing with them. So where am I today? 2 months ago, I was evaluating the surgery and adjusting to the device after I just got it. Today, I'm mostly just living with it. It's not a miracle device like I had thought or maybe imagined, but it's also better than I gave it first credit for. I think that basically I've started judging it by what it was actually designed to do, not by where my expectations were. So I'll continue sharing updates as I learn more or as things change. And I do hope that these videos help anyone who's considering this technology or knows somebody and that may be beginning a similar journey. I've enjoyed your comments and answering your questions through the comments. If you do enjoy these kind of conversations, not just about hearing loss, but also about technology, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, photography, travel, all the kind of things I hope to discuss in this channel, and occasionally just things I'm thinking about. The channel name is Jim Out Loud for a reason. I think out loud via this channel. I hope you'll consider liking this video and possibly subscribing. For now, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.